Hey guys, Daniel Gallan from SuperSport Park in Centurion, where we have just watched quite a weird day of cricket where 15 wickets have fallen for 260 odd runs. Definitely a day for the bowlers. I'm here with respected freelance sports journalist Lungani Zama. Zams, quite an odd day of cricket, that one.
Yeah, but a fun day.
Fun day.
If you're a cricket fan, a lot going on, 260 runs, like you say, 15 wickets. And this is what we expected from these teams when they started, that they've both got quality attacks that are probably going to hold sway over the batting, and that's what's happened thus far, and I'd imagine it's going to happen the whole series.
A lot of really good bowling performances, but none better than Vernon Philander. I mean, his first 5 overs, 5 maidens, I think they took something like 35 balls before they scored a run off him. The man's retiring, but he looks as good as he's ever been.
Yeah, I think today was just a re-emphasis of how much he's going to be missed. That control allows the Rabadas and the Nokias to attack as much as they can because they know nothing's coming from the other end. So you do already, if you worry about the state of South African cricket, worry about who's the next Vern, because he allows the Rabadas and everyone else to be who they are. Today was, magnificent. But I mean, you've come to expect it. Sure. Joe Denley said, it was up there with anything he's ever faced. And that's the general gist of what people say. Ricky Ponting said the other day that he's the best he's ever faced, skill-wise. So yeah, he will be definitely missed, and he's just re-emphasised that with that spell today. You
touched on Nokia. I mean, he came in with a reputation of being a shock and awe bowler who comes and hits the deck hard, but he showed some great skill. He moved it both ways. He worked a couple of batters out, and Dwayne Pretorius also really good skill. Moved it both ways, both through the air and off the seam. Very impressed with the backup bowlers today.
Yeah, well, I think Nokia might take a bit of offence being called a backup bowler. He's there to strike. Yeah. But obviously, I think he's learned pretty quickly in international cricket that you can't be one-dimensional. You can bowl 160 k's an hour if you want, but people can adjust to pace. You then need to start asking different questions. And I think when he started hitting a length, as opposed to going very full or very short, he started becoming a lot more problematic. And the ball that the wicket that he got hitting the top of off stump, that's exactly what you want to do as a fast bowler. So I think he's learning all the time. And definitely one whose future will be watched with a lot of interest. And Pretorius, and Dwayne obviously has to bring that control, like a Vern Light, if you will. Yes. Obviously brand new to Test cricket, but he's an experienced campaign in first-class cricket and one-day cricket for South Africa. So yeah, very good to see him come in and control it and not be bullied by what is a powerful English middle order.
And it obviously wasn't just the South African bowlers who bowled well today. We saw Jimmy Anderson, Stuart Broad with the new ball, but much of the talk around the English bowlers is focused on Jofra Archer, not for the balls that got wickets or troubled the batsman, but those 2 beamers towards the end. First one being called a no ball, second one appeared to have been called a no ball, but was retracted by Paul Rifle, I think, he wasn't standing at backward square, he was standing at backward point. What's your take on a bit of controversy to end the day?
Look, you can call it controversy, but the umpires have shouldered arms to that because realistically, the ball went past him and it was over waist height. Yeah. Straight after the previous one, which was pretty much similar height. So, to say it's controversial and dance around it, and his initial reaction at square leg was to put his arm out because he knew it was above waist height. Yes. Anrich Nokia hit the floor because he thought it was coming for his head. Yeah. You're facing a guy who bowls 150 k's an hour. So if
in the dying light.
Yeah. If you start saying that we must now have some sort of leeway, that's bending the rules. Yes. Obviously, they realise the implications of banning Jofra Archer. It compromises the entire Test match. But rules are rules. So once you start bending them, and there's going to be a statement that's going to come out. If KG does the same thing in Cape Town, what then happens? Exactly. Since England have got away with one here, does that mean South Africa are owed one per se by the umpires? It's a dangerous thing to start doing because Jofra knew after the first beamer that he's on a fine line. Yes. And to try another knuckleball, some would call it brave, some would call it crazy. And obviously it hasn't worked out, so he knew he was in trouble straight away, and I think that's why England all ran to the umpires in the fashion that they ran to try and convince him. And Bairstow was pointing to his waist and how it was lower than waist. And Denley said it just barely missed the stumps. But you don't take it from the stumps, you take it from the popping crease in your normal stance. Yes. And that's why Anrich Nokia hit the deck. Yes. If it was waist height and he hit the deck, it probably would have hit it on the head. So, the umpires have definitely danced away out of that one. Because they realise that we probably would be talking about this for weeks. Jofra Archer, banning one of the most skillful bowlers in the world for bowling a couple of beamers at the end of the day. But
in the FIFA World Cup final, it doesn't matter that it's Zinedine Zidane who headbutts someone. It doesn't matter who it is. If you break the rules, you break the rules. And as you say, we remember the death of Phil Hughes. We've seen how batsmen are hit and can be struck, and cricket ball is a hard thing. If we don't draw a hard line on this, do we create a bit of a dangerous precedent here?
100%, and all those Joe Denley, if he gets a beamer from KJ Rabada at whatever speed, it'd be fascinating to see him say that, oh no, it was, it just barely went over the stumps. It's not as if Anrich Nokia was taking a dive or milking the rules. His initial thought was to protect himself, because a ball is supposed to bounce, and when it doesn't, it scares you, especially when you know what Archer can bowl.
Yes.
And even worse, when he's come from bowling a slow ball, you don't expect 2 slow balls in a row. It's usually a slow ball to then set you up for the really fast one. And if you watch him the entire innings as a tail-ender, his first movement was step away to leg to make sure he doesn't get hurt. So now when you 2 come at your head, of course you're going to take cover. They come at head height initially when they're released. So, it's crazy, and we can say we're protecting the game and we don't want the focus to be on anything but what happens in the middle, but it happened in the middle. Yes. And it's a rule. It's not a grey area, it's a rule. 2 beamers, you're supposed to be out of the take for the rest of the innings. Yes. Jofra knows that, Joe Root knows that, the entire English team knows that, and the umpires know that. Yes. And the fact that they've done that, it takes you back to stuff that happened in the World Cup final, where, you start talking about rules more than the actual game, which you don't want. You don't want to do that.
Well, it's been a fascinating day's play. By the looks of things, we might be chatting about a result this time tomorrow. But as Vern said, a lot has happened on the field. We're looking forward to more tomorrow.